vestibular system, your inner ear, is telling you that gravity is one way.
It's the prior knowledge interacting with sensory information from the room
that messes you up. And prior knowledge has a reputation for doing this.
We found that in our own experiments. If you give somebody a collection of lines and they're judging their orientation, you'll fall back on nature. If you walk around the world and take a whole bunch of photographs, and they can be pictures from Manhattan, in which case, obviously, lots of things are vertical and lots of things are horizontal because people build them that way. You go take a walk in the woods, trees are up and horizon lines are down, animals' legs are vertical, and so that if you take a collection of these measurements of orientations, you'll find the distribution will have a bias towards the cardinal orientations, vertical and horizontal, which means that if I show you an unreliable indication of orientation, you have this prior knowledge that most things you see are vertical and horizontal. So if I show something near vertical, you'll perceive it more vertical than it actually is. So now let's go back to the exhibit. Our prior knowledge that rooms agree with the gravitational vertical is something that is true for us most of our lives. And so when you put yourself in a situation where that's not true, this overwhelming prior evidence takes precedence.
Even when you know that the room is just tipped.
This question about why it's interesting is about revealing how the apparatus works. This is an experience you can't logic your way out of.
The fancy phrase people use is they're cognitively impenetrable. You can know that what you are perceiving is wrong, but you'll still perceive it that way.
So optical illusions are really, really good at picking frame of references that mess with our brain. Here's an example when you're driving. If you've ever had this experience where you're sitting at a red light with a bus stopped next to you, and you're kind of daydreaming, not really paying any attention, and then all of a sudden you just start to feel like your car is actually moving backwards, and you realize, wait, I'm not moving at all, but the bus went ahead and moved forward. And because my brain has decided that the bus is a stationary object, when it actually moves, it makes me feel like I have moved backwards. So again, if you kind of read through here, you'll see that process leading you through like how you feel like you're actually moving backwards. And you can pause it and read all this type if you'd like. Also, for those of you who get car sick easily, a lot of times your brain is just getting two sets of information about your body's motion that don't really agree with one another. One set of information comes from your eyes. The other set of information comes from your inner ear. And some of us are much more sensitive to these differences. I know I am. So then when I begin to get car sick because I'm really sensing the differences in this information. So motion and frame of reference. If we were to review, motion is when there's a change in position. And how do you know that there is a change in position? Because you use reference points. You use a set of objects to determine that motion.